Welcome to the After Hours Society podcast. You know we love a good love story.
Oh.
So tonight, we're diving deep into one that's
hmm
almost too good to be true.
I love it.
Like you'd think it was straight out of Hollywood.
Yeah.
You ready for some love at first sight?
Oh, yeah, always.
But with a twist. This isn't your typical fairy tale romance.
Huh.
We're going to unpack the story of Marlena and Elie.
I'm intrigued already.
Buckle up. Because their road to happily ever after is anything but E.T. ordinary.
I was going to say, love at first sight rarely goes that smoothly, right? There's got to be some bumps along the way.
Oh, you better believe it. There's some serious twists and turns. We're talking about a couple whose lives were totally transformed by a chance meeting back in 2019.
Okay, so not like a super long time ago, but enough for their lives to really change.
Exactly. And their story is told in this awesome blog post from Crazy Love Stories. It's titled Love at First Sight: How Our Lives Changed in 3 Seconds. Literally.
Wow, literally 3 seconds.
Literally 3 seconds. We're talking instant connection, destiny, the whole 9 yards. But before we get into all the juicy details of their first encounter,
Yeah, let's back up a bit.
let's set the stage. Where were Marlena and Elie in their lives before fate, stepped in? What were they looking for? What were their vibes?
Yeah, good point. I think it's super important to understand where they were coming from individually before their paths collided.
Right. It's like those separate journeys make their eventual meeting even more powerful. So Marlena first. Imagine this. She's just finished grad school, feeling all that societal pressure to settle down.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Find a nice guy, get married, the whole deal.
The whole script, yeah.
But something's holding her back. She decides to volunteer in Georgia instead.
Interesting choice. Volunteering in Georgia, that's definitely not the typical post-grad path.
Definitely not. And get this. She's already in a relationship.
Oh, so there's more to this.
But it's kind of like lacking that spark.
Missing that je ne sais quoi?
Exactly. But hey, maybe she needed a change of scenery, right?
Maybe. Or maybe she was subconsciously looking for something more, even if she didn't realize it at the time.
And that's where it gets even more interesting. While she's in Georgia, Marlena starts getting into meditation.
Oh, okay. So she's on this journey of self-discovery.
Right, like she's intentionally trying to connect with herself on a deeper level. Almost like prepping for something big without even knowing it.
I like that, prepping for something big. It's like she's creating space for something new to enter her life.
Okay, now let's switch gears to Elie. Eli's story is a whole other roller coaster.
Buckle up.
He's having a full-blown existential crisis,
Oh, wow, this can be intense.
triggered by, wait for it, a voice in his head.
A voice in his head, like literally.
Literally. Pretty wild,
Yes,
right?
that's definitely not your everyday experience. So what does he do?
Well, this voice tells him to leave everything behind and travel the world.
Whoa, big change. So he just drops everything and goes.
Pretty much. He leaves Lebanon and dives headfirst into this whole new way of life. He gets super into yoga, sustainable living, rejecting anything that feels, inauthentic to him.
Sounds like he's really searching for meaning and purpose.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's all about aligning his actions with his beliefs, living with intention.
I can definitely respect that. Walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
And here's the kicker. He's openly looking for a partner, but not in the traditional sense.
What do you...
He doesn't want just a girlfriend. He wants an equal partner, someone to share life's adventures with, someone on the same wavelength.
That makes sense, given his whole journey of self-discovery. He's looking for a deep connection, not just a casual fling.
Exactly. He even tells the universe, hey, send me the one already.
He puts it out there. Manifestation, baby.
I know, right? So both Marlena and Elie are on these separate paths of self-discovery, both yearning for something more, a deeper connection.
And then, boom, they end up at the same photo walk in Tbilisi, Georgia.
And neither of them really wanted to be there.
Wait, seriously? A photo walk? That's so random.
I know, right? Marlena didn't even have her camera with her.
What about Elie? Was he, like, a photography buff?
Get this, Elie doesn't even own a camera.
No way! What was he doing there, then?
I guess some things are just meant to be.
Fate works in mysterious ways, right? So they're both at this photo walk, not really wanting to be there, and then what?
Then their eyes meet, and bam. It's like the whole world stops spinning for them.
Okay, this is the 3-second moment you were talking about.
Yep. 3 seconds that felt like a lifetime, a feeling of instant recognition.
Like they'd known each other before? Past lives, maybe?
Right. It's like they just knew, on some level, that they were meant to meet.
Wow, that's powerful. So what happens next? Do they start chatting, taking pictures together?
They totally ditched the whole photo walk thing.
They do. What do they do instead?
They spend the entire night talking, Just the two of them.
Mm.
Deep conversations while everyone else is making small talk.
Oh, I love that. Skipping the superficial stuff and diving right into the real deal.
And Elie doesn't hold back. He tells Marlena everything about himself, his whole life story, his philosophy, his dreams.
He just lays it all out there. That's pretty bold.
He's an open book. And Marlena is just captivated by his honesty and authenticity.
She's probably thinking, I've never met anyone like this before.
Right? He even tells her about how he sometimes sleeps in his tent because he's committed to a moneyless lifestyle.
Whoa, that's dedication. He's definitely not afraid to live by his values.
And Marlena is blown away. She's drawn to his passion and his commitment to living a life true to himself.
So there's this intense connection, a shared sense of purpose, all stemming from this random photo walk they almost skipped.
It's pretty incredible, right? Like something straight out of a movie script.
Definitely not your average meet cute. So what happens after this whirlwind night? Do they go on a date?
Oh, you better believe it. And their first date is just as unique and memorable as their first encounter. But it's not your typical dinner and a movie kind of date.
Hmm.
Elie invites Marlena to the market and then a picnic at this beautiful lake called Lisi Lake.
Seems charming. A little rustic, a little romantic.
And her response is gold. She says, that would be awfully wonderful.
Awfully wonderful. That's a unique way to put it.
Right. It's like she's intrigued, but also hesitant. Maybe her gut is telling her this could be something special, but she's still trying to process everything.
Makes sense. She's got a lot going on emotionally, right?
Totally. And get this. Elie almost cancels the whole thing because he misinterprets her message.
He does. What happens?
He gets all hung up on the word awfully.
Oh, no. Classic miscommunication.
He thinks she's not interested, and he almost calls it off.
That's hilarious. Talk about a near miss. So did they end up going on the date?
They did. But of course, it's not without its awkward moments.
Of course. What happens? Give me the deets.
Well, first of all, Elie shows up wearing his most inappropriate ripped T-shirt.
Oh, no. Not a good first impression.
And then while they're at the market, all the shop ladies start teasing them about being a couple and having kids.
Oh, my gosh. That's so embarrassing.
I know, right? But through it all, they're still super into each other.
There must be some serious chemistry there to overcome all that awkwardness.
Totally. But they're not just going with the flow, they're kind of testing each other, you know?
Yeah. In what way?
Elie grills Marlena about her views on food, like really gets into the nitty-gritty of it.
Food can be a big deal, especially if someone's really passionate about healthy eating or has dietary restrictions.
Exactly. And Marlena, she's not just sitting there passively. She's questioning Elie about his life goals, that future he's always talking about.
She's not afraid to dig deep. I like that.
She wants to know if he's all talk or if he's actually walking the walk.
Mm.
And as they're talking, Marlena starts crying.
Whoa, hold on, crying? What brings that on?
It's while Elie's describing his vision for the future, his dream of a world where people live in harmony with nature.
Wow. Her tears must be a sign of how deeply she's connecting with his words.
Right? It's like she's seeing a kindred spirit, someone who understands her on a soul level.
So powerful. But remember, she's still technically in another relationship. This is getting complicated.
It is. And before they part ways, Elie lays down the law. He tells Marlena he needs a decision, black or white, no gray areas.
Whoa, that's intense. He's not messing around.
Nope. He's all in, and he wants to know if she is too.
So what happens next? Does Marlena give him an answer right away?
Well, their next meeting is a whole other story. Elie is an hour and 15 minutes late.
An hour and 15 minutes? That's a pretty big deal, especially for someone who values time.
Oh, he hates being late. That drives him crazy.
So why was he so late?
He had all these things come up, work stuff, errands, you name it.
So what's Marlena's reaction? Is she furious?
She's surprisingly calm about it. She knows in her heart that he'll show up.
She's got that intuition working overtime.
Totally. And when he finally arrives, full of apologies, he gives her this single tulip with the root still attached.
Ah, that's sweet. A tulip with a root? What's the significance of that?
It symbolizes growth, potential, kind of like their relationship.
I see. It's like he's saying, let's grow together.
Exactly. They decide to hike into the mountains, and as they're standing by this secluded stream, they share a passionate kiss.
Ooh la la. Things are heating up.
And then Marlena does something she's never done before.
She tells him she loves him.
Yes. She says, I love you.
Uh-huh.
And Elie's completely floored.
I bet he was over the moon. Those 3 little words can change everything.
They do. And it's a big deal for Marlena, too. She's never said those words to anyone before.
It's like she's finally letting her guard down, allowing herself to be vulnerable.
And she's not just talking the talk. She backs up her words with actions.
She breaks up with her boyfriend. Yep.
He realizes that her connection with Elie is something truly special, and she can't ignore it.
That's a brave decision. It's not easy to walk away from something familiar, even if it's not fulfilling.
Right. But their journey's not all sunshine and roses. They hit a major snag.
What happens? Do their personalities clash?
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how Elie's kind of like a volcano?
Yeah, all that passion and intensity.
Well, there's a massive eruption.
Uh-oh. What triggers it?
It's a combination of things Marlena's tendency to assume and Elie's black and white thinking.
Ah, classic communication breakdown.
They have this huge fight, and Elie walks out. He's convinced it's over.
Just like that. He gives up.
He even blocks Marlena on social media.
Wow, that's dramatic. Talk about cutting all ties.
But as he's going about his life, he starts to realize something's missing.
What do you mean?
His food tastes bland. His surroundings feel dull. It's like life has lost its flavor without Marlena.
Aw, that's kind of sweet. He misses her spark.
He tries to deny it, but deep down, he knows he messed up.
So what does he do?
After 2 hours of inner turmoil, he finally caves. He unblocks Marlena and sends her a bunch of angry messages.
Angry messages. That's an interesting way to reach out.
I know, right? It's like he's trying to mask his vulnerability with anger.
Makes sense. It can be hard to admit we were wrong, especially when pride is involved.
And Marlena, she's completely speechless. She's still trying to process the breakup, and now this.
She's probably thinking, what just happened?
Elie, convinced that she's done with him, suggests one final meeting at their special tree in the mountains.
The place where they first said, I love you.
Yep. And Marlena agrees. She's not ready to give up on them just yet.
So they meet at the tree. What happens next?
It's a raw, emotional conversation. Lots of tears, lots of honesty.
They finally clear the air.
They do. They realize that their miscommunication stemmed from their different ways of thinking and communicating.
So they identify the root of the problem. That's a good first step.
And they come up with strategies to communicate more effectively.
Like what? Give me an example.
Elie encourages Marlena to express her needs directly, instead of assuming he knows what she's thinking.
That's a good one. Assumptions can be relationship killers.
And they start referring to their relationship as the U.S.
The U.S. I like that. It signifies their unity, their commitment to working together.
It's like they're creating their own little world, their own set of rules.
So they've reconciled, they're communicating better. What's next for this adventurous duo? They're ready to take their relationship to the next level, put it to the ultimate test.
Exactly. They decide to go on this epic hitchhiking adventure across Georgia for 5 weeks.
Whoa! Hitchhiking for 5 weeks? That's a long time to be on the road, relying on strangers for rides.
It's the ultimate test of their compatibility, right?
Totally. They'll be forced to rely on each other, navigate unfamiliar situations, deal with the unexpected. If they can survive that, they can survive anything.
And guess what? They totally rock it. They cover over 1,500 miles using only their thumbs.
Seriously?
Yeah.
1,500 miles? That's incredible. They must have some amazing stories from that trip.
I bet. It's like they prove to themselves that they're not just a good match in a comfortable setting. They can thrive together anywhere, even on the open road, relying on the kindness of strangers.
It's like they're building this incredible foundation of trust and resilience. They know they can handle whatever life throws at them as long as they have each other.
Now, here's where things get a little, unexpected.
Another twist. What is it this time?
They decide to get legally married.
They do, after all this talk about unconventional relationships and soul merging.
I know, right? But it's not for the reasons you might think.
What do you mean?
They don't see it as this big romantic gesture. It's more of a practical decision.
Practical? How so?
They do it for logistical reasons. To make traveling and living together easier, less paperwork, less hassle.
Ah, that makes sense. So it's not about the piece of paper, it's about making their lives simpler?
Exactly. In their minds, they're already married spiritually.
Right. They had that intense full moon experience where they felt their souls merge.
It's like that moment was more meaningful to them than any legal ceremony could ever be.
It's a beautiful way to look at it. Commitment isn't always about external validation. It's about the bond you share, the promises you make to each other.
And speaking of meaningful moments, Marlena shares this incredible story that kind of blows my mind.
What is it? Another psychic vision.
It's about a dream she had when she was a kid, like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Years later, when Elie is hugging her, she has this intense wave of déjà vu.
Deja vu, like she'd experienced that exact moment before.
Exactly. And then it hits her. She dreamt about that hug, that feeling, years before she ever met Elie.
Whoa, that's wild. Like a premonition of their connection?
It's like the universe was giving her a glimpse into her future. showing her that this incredible love was out there waiting for her.
That's so amazing. Makes you wonder how much of our lives is predetermined, how much is fate.
It really does. Marlena and Ellie's story is like a testament to the power of intuition, destiny, and taking leaps of faith.
They followed their hearts, defied conventions, and created this beautiful, unique life together. It's truly inspiring.
It definitely challenges you to think outside the box,
Yeah.
to question those societal norms and create your own definition of love and happiness.
Absolutely. Their story is a reminder that there's no one right way to do things. What matters is finding what works for you, what resonates with your soul.
And don't be afraid to go for it, even if it seems unconventional or scary. You never know what incredible connections are out there waiting to be discovered.
It's all about taking that leap of faith, trusting your gut, and embracing the unknown.
Will said. So, what do you think? Have you ever felt that instant connection with someone or had a dream that felt like a premonition?
I'd love to hear our listeners' thoughts. Share your stories, your insights. Let's keep this conversation going.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Marlena and Allie's incredible love story. It's been a wild ride full of twists and turns, and ultimately a beautiful testament to the power of human connection.
Remember, sometimes the most amazing love stories come from the most unexpected places. Keep an open mind, embrace the unknown, and who knows, maybe you'll find your own happily ever after.
That's it for this episode of the After Hours Society podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating topics. Until next time, keep exploring and keep those conversations flowing.